Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron Channel. I'm Steve Shaw. In this video, we're going to go beyond squats and deadlifts and answer the question, what do you do when you don't want to squat and deadlift? Before I get into this topic, if you guys need coaching, check out the link below. Coaching is what I do for a living. I would love to help. All right, so you don't want to squat, you don't want to deadlift. Maybe your lower back is jacked up. Maybe the rack is always taken in your gym. Maybe they don't like you deadlifting in the gym. Or maybe it's just taking up a lot of time and energy. At my strongest, when I would go into the gym to squat or deadlift, it would take me about 45 minutes just to get to my first working set. My first working set on deadlifts would be somewhere around 600 pounds, and my warm-ups were literally bar by 10, 135 by 6, 225 by 4, 315 by 1, 365 by 1, 405 by 1, 445 by 1, 495 by 1, 545 by 1. That's legitimately how I would warm up. I'd take those little incremental steps and warm up my central nervous system. Now, you don't have to be as crazy as I was with your warm-up sets, but you do need to be pretty meticulous. But that aside, the squat and the deadlift can take up a lot of time, can take up a lot of energy. It can require a lot of time just working on exercise form. Plus, it can simply beat the living crap out of your lower back. So let's just move beyond squats and deadlifts here in this video. We'll talk about what to do if you don't want to do them. Now, each month I'm approached by a substantial number of individuals who want to move past the squat and deadlift for the variety of reasons we just discussed. I want to make it known that I'm not trying to pull you guys away from hard training. This will always remain our primary focus. With that said, let's take a look at some alternatives. These are some good quality exercises to use to swap in for your squats or deadlifts. Now, moving beyond squats, if we are removing squats from the mix, it needs to be replaced with a lateral movement or something that is very, very similar when it comes to training intensity and the progressive overload opportunity. It needs to be an exercise that is top tier and that can truly punish the quads, because even though the squat can hit the glutes and the hips and the hamstrings, etc., it is primarily used in our programming to hammer the quads. Now, one of the issues here is that this exercise choice will be different for everyone. When you dive into the world of machines or leg presses or even Smith squat stations, you'll find that there is a degree of chaos. For example, there are many, many different types of leg presses. You can go into 100 different gyms and you just don't know what you're going to get. Some of them will feel good, some of them will feel great, and some of them will beat the living crap out of your lower back. So the key here is not to worry about a specific exercise as the be-all, end-all as a swap for squats, but find something that really works well for you. Like I said, no two exercises are equal. That's actually a positive thing. If you're after hypertrophy or muscle building, you want to use a reasonable selection of exercises that aren't the same thing over and over and over again. We aren't just going to go into the gym and do leg presses over and over and over again, or squats. We're better off doing a combination of exercises like leg presses, like pendulum squats, like lunges, like leg extensions. With that said, in this context, equal means solidly impactful, something that can be extremely challenging and brutal. Now, here are some quality quad-focused exercises. Obviously, the leg press is the easiest. You go into any commercial gym, you're probably going to have a leg press. It's a solid swap for squats. You also have the Smith squat, which is a very underrated exercise. If you're going to get into this exercise, make sure you study or research form. It's a little bit different than a conventional squat. Now, you also have things like the hack squat, which is a good exercise. A lot of people struggle to reach depth on the hack squat. Give it a try. If you don't like it, find something else. Pendulum squat can be a good choice if you can hit a solid depth and get a decent degree of quad feel. One of my favorites is the leverage squat. I have the machine here in my home gym. I bought it from Titan Fitness. I have no affiliation. In my opinion, the leverage squat is one of the best choices for hammering your quad. So if you have access to it, I would definitely give it a try. And then you have things like the belt squat, which is a quality choice, and the Hatfield squat. Yes, this is kind of like a barbell squat, but it's going to be a little bit easier on the lower back, and you might like this as a replacement. All right, so now it's time to move beyond deadlift. So deadlift is what I call a unicorn lift. It's hard to place it into one tidy body part box. It'll hit your quads to a degree, your traps to a degree. It really hits your upper back. So with that said, the deadlift does an incredible job at hammering the upper back and the lats and the traps. When we remove it from the equation, we want to either have something that really hammers the upper back and traps hard, or we want to do a variation of the deadlift that isn't as brutal on the lower back and spine. Now, the Romanian deadlift, while a solid choice, is an exercise that focuses more on loading the hamstrings. It's not quite an equal. The deadlift is going to really hit your upper back and traps. The Romanian deadlift, you're focused on driving your glutes back to load the hamstrings. You're getting the stretch reflex in the hamstring, so it's not quite as impactful on the upper back because you're not pulling off the ground. Now, you can certainly add the Romanian deadlift in for deadlifts if you want. Just make sure you have enough impactful exercises for your upper back and traps. Now, here are some equal deadlift exercises. Number one, high handle hex bars. Yes, this is a deadlift variation, but by using the high handles, you're going to get the body more upright. The center of your body is going to be pretty much over the center of the bar. On a deadlift, your body is behind the bar, and this will place a little bit more stress on the lower back. With a hex bar deadlift, you're able to get the center of the feet in the center of the bar, so to speak, so you can get more upright, and it will stress the lower back less. Please use high handles. That's the whole point. If you don't want to deadlift, use high handles. It'll get you more upright, less lower back stress, and you still get very quality upper back and traps stimulus. Now, you can also do the pendlay row. On the pendlay row, you want to have your hips slightly below your shoulders, and you really want to get that good power and explosiveness. You can really feel the upper back working solidly with the pendlay row, and you're also going to work your traps to a degree. Next, you have the Shaw row and or the croc row. My variation's a little bit different from the croc row, but both are hard and heavy and brutal and generally using reps above 10. This is a really good exercise. It's extremely taxing, it's extremely impactful, and it's really going to help build that upper back mass. You also have things like T-bar rows, which is a perfectly solid swap in for like pendlay rows if you don't want to do pendlay rows. Then you have things like power shrugs. If you don't want to do a deadlift variation, but you still really want to get some yoke trap work in, use the power shrug or a variation. The final thing is the rack or block pull. You can pull off the ground from 2, 3, 4, or 5 inches, a little bit more lower back friendly, and a decent swap in for the deadlift. Now, some final thoughts. The key here is to think about equal brutality. We need to factor in progressive overload. We need to also factor in progressive overload. So you need kind of an equal exercise from a brutality standpoint, and you need an exercise that has a solid progression opportunity. There are many other solid exercises you could swap in for these lifts, but they lack the solid combination of training intensity and progression opportunity. Let me know if you guys need help. Don't ever hesitate to DM me on Instagram at BenTheBarman or hit me up on WhatsApp. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.